Wow.
Welcome to the Ace Podcast, where we talk all things art, culture, and entertainment, more specifically pop culture entertainment. It's late.
It's hella late, dude.
Yeah, it's almost 1 a.m., but we finally are making ourselves record something.
Finally.
Because we're next to each other.
Right. Something that's never happened in the history of us doing a podcast. Being in the same room to
in the same room. We always make plans for it. It's like, oh, fuck. And then something happens, I'm like, I realize, I'm like, we don't do it tonight. We're not doing it this weekend.
Right.
I know that for sure.
100%.
For fact. But yes, it is your regular co-host Will, and with me I'm my regular co-host Aaron. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fucking tired.
I get that.
I'm both, okay, but yeah, we're both tired. We both had long days today.
We did. We think we probably had similar amounts of sleep.
Yeah. We went to go see a movie after a long day of traveling, which was fun, which was mad funny. But
yeah, like thank God it was short. That's when I asked you about the runtime. Like, please tell me it's only like 90 minutes. There's no reason for a comedy to be like 2 hours.
Hell no. Especially with every movie these days being like 2+ hours,
God.
daring to be 3 hours.
Why the fuck is Oppenheimer 3 hours? What do you have to say about a dude that said to blow up the Japanese or to not blow up the Japanese? This is very much a moral quandary that some white guy, but you know, some successful white man is having before people get mad because I just called him some dude, some dude that helped develop the nuke.
Nolan likes his sad movies, so I think that's why he's like, let's just make this as sad as possible for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's just all of Nolan's movies are just like devoid of joy.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone can debate me on that. It's like all of his movies are sad. Like,
name one good one. Name one happy ending.
I guess technically Dark Knight Rises is happy-ish, but it doesn't make any fucking sense.
True. Yeah, you really had to stretch for that happy ending.
It's like
it's not his forte.
It's not even happy. It's just kind of like it's nonsensical and then vaguely content.
Right.
And then
that's the closest we get to happiness with Nolan. Vaguely content.
Yeah. What was Tenet?
He was the protagonist. That's all I remember.
Because I remember he
didn't have a name. That movie's trash. Sorry to anyone who likes Tenet.
I thought it was fine. Maybe just like from a production standpoint and like the cast is decent, so it kind of helps ignore the movie's short. Also, he hyped the shit out of that movie and then just nothing.
Yeah,
like
I've never heard. Movie.
I've seen people talk about like Interstellar or Inception or Dark Knight, even Memento. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've seen anyone talk about Tenet since it came out.
Bro, because no one cares about Tenet.
You're right.
No one gives a shit about Tenet.
And I thought it was just okay.
It was fine.
Like it's
gonna be in his most forgettable movies.
Yeah, it's like I was entertained by it, but I don't know.
We have better movies to talk about, though.
Yeah. Before we get into that extremely extended diatribe, do we want to talk briefly about just like some of the other stuff we've seen recently? Because what else have I seen? We watched Joyride.
We did just go see Joyride.
We did just get out of Joyride. That was fun.
It was a really fun movie.
It was like, I mean this in the most positive way possible. It's like an all Asian girls trip.
Yeah.
And I was doing some digging into the writers. The writers are two women from Family Guy, and the director did Raya and the Last Dragon. She was the writer for Raya and the Last Dragon, the writer for Crazy Rich Asians.
Was she really?
Yeah, the director. So this is her first directorial project.
Okay.
So the girl that played the lead is from Beef. That's why I recognize her. She was the neighbor. Oh,
she was the neighbor.
Yeah.
No, she was the one who's gonna. We don't want to spoil Beef, but
the
one who was going to do the thing.
The homeowners association chick that thought.
Yeah.
So that was
her.
Did
we talk about Beef?
I don't think we did. I think we talked about it privately. I don't think we talked about. I mean, we can talk briefly about it. I mean,
Beef was great.
Yeah, Beef was fantastic. Beef. It's fighting with Swarm for my favorite show of the year.
Ooh, okay.
Because I really love Swarm's.
Swarm was great.
I love Swarm's like ending. But because I think its last two episodes are just super fucking dynamic to me.
Yeah, I agree.
And super duper like meta in a beautiful way. But then Beef, I kind of don't want it to get a second season.
It seems like it might. That's the thing.
I won't hate it if it does. And I remember the controversy and everything about one of the casting choices kind of kind of blew up and then petered out on the internet about the cousin.
David Cho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. He did some
fuck
shit.
Yeah, some like actual not okay shit. But the rest of the show, even writing wise, I think is just great. Yeah, they're competing. They're both definitely Emmy nominated. Like, I'd say Swarm is more creatively shot.
Yeah.
Like, production wise. I can't remember if he shot it on film or not. I think he did. But Beef, narratively, I think is fascinating.
Yeah. That's a tough one for me.
It's really tough, especially like performance wise.
This just had a lot of good TVs. I really loved Beef and I really loved Swarm.
Yeah, those are definitely like my top 2 shows. But then we have to watch I'm a Virgo, which just
I'm a Virgo, and then Barry had its series finale. Did you
watch my god!
You haven't finished Barry yet?
No, I did. We haven't talked about it. Jesus. Did you see the end of Barry?
Of course.
Oh my god. Barry might be one of the greatest shows of all time.
Thank you. Yes.
It got to the end, and I'm sitting there as the credits were. I'm like, this might be one of the greatest shows ever written.
Yeah.
And it's so weird, because like even spoiling it doesn't do, because you put me on to Barry. I give you full credit for that. And I blitzed through seasons 1 through 3 in a day, and I was in. Because I remember, I think I texted you about the one episode with the karate chick, and I'm like, this needs an Emmy.
Oh yeah, I think Ronnie Lily, the little girl. Yeah.
Yeah, with like the fight and everything, and because there were a lot of like long shots.
And that was season 2. That was before the shit really started hitting the fan.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. So it's like and just where season 4 went, and the time skip, and just this is a good way to do an unhappy ending.
Yeah. They were successful in the way that they did it. Plus, all the character arcs, at least in my opinion, felt very natural in the way they ended. And I was content with where all of the stories beats went for each character.
Like, it doesn't go anywhere predictable, but it's not like irrational.
No.
It's like
it'll jump the shark with it. Everything like fits.
Yeah, it's like everything in terms of how it's executed, even for the most part of how it's paced. It's not a wholesome or fun or the particularly the last like back end of the season after the time skip. There's no way I could have seen where it was going narratively and where it ends. It's like I have no bearing of like I couldn't see that coming. I couldn't see any of that coming, really. Yeah, no, it's just like it's dour, but it doesn't bother me.
No,
because it's like
it also has humor built into it. Even though the humor gradually gets less and less and darker, it still rides that line and rides that tone of being dark while also finding the levity within that darkness.
Cristobal in the sand silo probably damn near gave me an anxiety attack.
That was tough.
It lingered for so long in the dark.
Yeah.
And you just hear like the muffled sound of suffocation, like that sequence. Cristobal putting the pieces together, the whole thing with the Raven was wild. Jesus, I'm trying to even just like the finale and where the show ends. It's
are we spoiling it? Or are we just like
we
can, it's been out for a minute.
Yeah, we can spoil it.
Best last words ever. Oh wow. Immediately shot in the head.
Like,
did you also laugh when that happened?
I didn't laugh. I was taken off fucking guard.
I died. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Because, like, I'm not saying that it's not funny. It's just, like, I was so taken aback by that. And then, like, the last, 5-10 minutes where we get... And I respect Barry a lot for actually following through with part of what's set up. Because other shows, when it gets to... what was his son's name? John? go into the friend's house.
John or Henry, something like that.
One of the or James,
I think
someone
it might have
James.
been Henry,
But yeah, when his son is at like the other kid's house, and he's like, "Oh, you need to see this." Da, da, da. Other projects would have stopped and like been, it would have cut off right there and been like, "Oh, he watched the movie," and you just kind of see his face, and then boom, black screen. No, you see what he sees.
Yeah.
So that means it's like yelling behind a glass, knowing that they can't hear you because you've seen the whole story, and then the drama. So damn.
Like the whole thing is framed like Kuzno is the bad guy from the beginning in this fictional version of the events that happened with his father. Yeah,
like that. No, that's just like, it's fantastic because I think the reason I really appreciate it is funnily enough because like Swarm does something similar in terms of its finale.
Yeah,
where,
the meta retelling of the story.
the meta retelling of the story, but you've seen it in a different context.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have an idea of what's fact and fiction, but Swarm did it kind of the reverse, where I think we saw the dramatized version. I still don't know.
You think the show was the dramatized version of the actual events?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
that shit still puzzles me because there's no like definitive like episode 7, yes. Mm-hmm. 1 through 5, I'm not sure.
Right.
It's like once you get to 6 and then see 7, it recontextualizes 1 through 5. So I'm not sure what was what. But Barry kind of does the reverse, where it's like you see the real life events, and then right at the end you see the dramatized version. It's just like because I was sitting there, I'm just
I think the whole thing was dramatized because they tried to frame it as Kuzno was the bad guy.
Yeah. It's like you see the whole dramatized version, and Barry was like the hero Marine, but knowing. It's like I think I remember watching the rundown sequence of him rewatching it, and I'm just like, that's not how it went. That's not how any of this. That's not what happened.
Right.
That's not what happened with any of this.
That's not what they did.
But no one will ever know.
Yeah.
So it's like it's weird that it really makes me curious about how they're going to handle the last season of You. Because they're in a similar kind of quandary of because like let's not mince words here. Like I love watching Barry the character. He is a monster.
Oh yeah,
he is a horrible human being. But it's like Bill Hader's so damn unsuspecting.
He's so great as
he's fantastic. I wouldn't mind him as Mr. Fantastic.
That's not a bad choice actually. I like that.
It'd be funny if they got that cast.
Yeah.
I think the others. I think Nando said he wanted the cast of The Good Place to basically be the Fantastic. I'm like, it's not a bad idea. It'd be hilarious.
I heard Matt Smith also might be in the contention for Mr. Fantastic.
I heard that too. I'm not opposed to it.
It's different, but sure. Like he's eccentric. Why not?
Yeah, it's like he can play like dark and serious.
I just can't imagine him with an American accent. That would be trippy for me.
Well, didn't he have one in Morbius?
No.
Oh no, he didn't.
Yeah, he was British in that one.
I've seen him have an American accent when he did American Psycho. Oh,
he was in American Psycho? That came out like 20 years ago.
No, the musical.
There's a musical of American Psycho?
Yeah, he was in the original production of it.
What?
Yeah, okay. he played Patrick Bateman.
Oh, interesting.
But I wasn't thinking I was wrong. But he did do that. I was thinking of something else. He was American in Last Night in Soho.
Last Night in Soho. That whole
with
movie,
Anya Taylor-Joy.
That whole movie took place in England.
No, it didn't.
Last Night in Soho?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's England, dude.
Wasn't he American though?
I'm pretty sure he was English in that movie.
Was he?
Yeah, man.
I've heard him speak with an English accent.
We're gonna find out.
Or an American accent. I know he's English.
I'm gonna look it up.
Am I? Maybe I could be wrong because you're right. It is in England. It's set in England, but
I don't know.
But isn't Soho in New York?
No, maybe there's 2 Sohos. I don't know.
I know there's like because it's Stanford. It's like South something. I can't remember. Yeah, I'm definitely like that. Was it? Maybe he was English. Where have I heard him do an American accent?
That's crazy because nothing's popping up on here. I mean, nothing definitive. At least what I'm seeing.
It's whatever.
Whatever.
But yeah, it's like no. Barry's great. Swarm's great. Beef is great. What other movies have we seen? Oh, we talked about the Blackening a little bit. That was good.
Blackening was great.
Blackening was.
I think Blackening is still early. It's still halfway through the year, but like, I think Blackening might make my top 10.
Really?
This year. I think so. I really loved it.
I really enjoyed it. It's well written. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It works, but I'd say it's on par with Joyride for me.
Really? I thought Blackening was funnier than Joyride. I thought Joyride was funny, but I think Blackening just had that extra thing, like celebration of like, you know, black culture and just like I loved the character.
I think I laughed more in Blackening. I laughed louder in Joyride.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because Joyride shocked me. Blackening was funny.
Right. I get that.
Yeah, so it was like shocking funny humor.
Well, you gotta ask yourself this: on a rewatch, do you think you still have that same reactions for Joyride?
That would be my question for both of them. Really, is like if I'm watching this solo dolo for each of them, would I find them as funny?
I think I've seen Blackening twice, and it still holds up the second time.
And I'm not saying that again. I think it's a very good, well constructed. I would enjoy this writing team doing more Blackening like horror comedy movies. Mm-hmm. Even if it's like a sequel or a spin-off or something. Like I would like more of that.
Yeah.
Like I do want more from this team of like if you do like a Scooby-Doo type of thing, or like doing different like genres of horror and black people being put into those positions. Yeah. Versus because I think what makes it really strong is that it's not like Scary Movie, so it's not a parody.
Right.
It's more so it's Black Twitter analyzing horror, which is really effective if you're in black culture.
Yeah. I definitely get that.
Because I think that's what helps it be very strong is because it's extremely culturally in tune, and it works amazing with a crowd. It's fucking hilarious with a crowd. But it's just like I want more Blackening. I want this crew to do more, either with different genres of movie or different subgenres of horror. So this one was, like I would want to see black people do demon possession.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like that would be fun.
Yeah,
like a poltergeisty, like Insidious just came out. You know, like Exorcist type movie. Do that. You could do black people and aliens.
Yeah.
How do we handle that? Black people and zombies. Like you have a lot of room, like black people and sea monsters.
Saw.
Yeah. It's just like eventually we get to black people and
like people and aliens.
Yeah, it's like black people and like horror porn. Black people and
I would want to see. Really like the cast of Blackening. I would want to see those characters back.
I knew, I recognized everyone in the cast except for the boyfriend and the thick girl.
The boyfriend, he was just in White Man Can't Jump.
I didn't watch White Man Can't Jump. Was it? Wait, was he the?
He's the lead. He's the opposite of Black Harlow.
Oh, I guess so I've heard of him right before Black, but I didn't watch the movie. So.
And I haven't seen the thicker chick either. And I didn't realize that.
But she's funny. They're all funny. The cast is really good.
I didn't realize the dude who played Clifton was the same bro from Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah. He was the son in Coming to America too.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it's him.
Until afterwards.
It took me a second because I knew he was in the movie. I'm like, well, where the hell is he? Past this Urkel looking. Oh, it's and like when it hit, and I'm like, oh, that's him. He's a good actor. He's a good actor. He has good comedic timing. He's funny. Motherfucker has some range, honestly.
Yeah.
Like seeing him between like Sorry to Bother You, this, and even Coming to America, like 3 very different styles of comedy that's required of him.
Right.
No, what's his name?
He's diverse.
Fowler. Something Fowler.
I don't know.
I think Jefferson Fowler or something.
I just knew as Clifton, he was just talking off the side of his mouth the whole time.
I saw that too. The gun part had me stitching. The shit with the guns.
Right. He flipped
that
the gun
killed me.
from the side to the top. Also, when they voted him off the island, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like when he slapped homeboy on the way out.
Right. That was
It was so funny.
You gotta go back and watch the original skit because the original skit is funny. But shout outs to Dwayne.
I did watch
Perkins.
the original skit.
Oh, okay.
I thought the movie's funnier, but I see the framework of it, what they were doing.
No, I think it's funnier because it has more time to kind of cook with the premise. Like I think the premise alone is fucking hilarious. But like being able to expand on that and make it 90 minutes is effective.
Yeah.
So shout out to Dwayne Perkins and his team for getting that off the ground. Yeah, I want more Blackenings. Even if it's like this same group but like slightly remixed or something, and just like doing different stuff, like black people and ghosts, black people and demons, black people and werewolves, black people do Sherlock Holmes, like that's what I want, because I think that I think you have more freedom trying to satirize the genre than to parody it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason we have, like, 2 black scary movies. Like, distinctly black. I like 3 and 4, but 3 and 4 are goofy as fuck.
Very.
1 and 2 are, like, Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, I think is a timeless comedy classic. And it's straight parody the whole way through. So like, I haven't even seen all of the movies that it parodies, and I still find it fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But I think being able to, like satirize that shit properly is really, because there's a difference, because one has more nuance.
Right.
So it's like Blackening, for all its strengths, like, the nuances are there. Like, the door creaks open. We pull it closed. Like, it took them like 5 minutes to get to splitting up. They didn't want to do it.
I think the thing this movie really masters is the fact that it's about these characters in a horror scenario, but they find a way, in spite of the fact that it's playing out these sort of traditional scenarios we see in horror movies, you still care about them. You still want to know them. And I feel like that's rare, because you usually expect these characters to be like cannon fodder. Yeah. But I was actually rooting for them the entire time.
And not just that, they make relatively logical decisions throughout the movie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like,
you can follow where their head is at.
Yeah,
and why they decided to do what they did.
And credit where credit is due, especially writing wise, they are keenly in touch with who their target demographic is.
Oh, 100%.
Which is like young black people, Black Twitter. Yeah. Because like the whole movie, I'm saying things and the movie's right on where I'm thinking. Right. Which I'm like, you have your finger on the pulse of how people think, because you know your demo, and if you know your demo and you're funny, that makes for good writing.
Now, do you think this movie will tell the test of time? Like, do you think this movie will still be funny in like 10 years, or do you feel like it relies on pop culture of today to sustain that? I think
it'll last because it's satirizing genre tropes, not like any sort of particular modern aesthetics. Like, I think that, and that's the difference. Like, Scary Movie 1 and 2, well, all of them really. I think they're, except for 5. Nobody watched 5. But it's like, I think Scary Movie 1 through 4 are funny, but they can't stand the test of time unless you know what they're parodying. They're directly referencing shit. Yeah. But if you've seen, like, if you have an idea of horror themes, and like, if you've seen Scooby-Doo and you're black, you can probably follow this movie. Right. Like, if you know the basics of horror tropes of, there's a mysterious guy going around killing people in a cabin in the woods, that concept is so broad that the jokes can come easy. So I think that's why it'll last longer than theoretically like the scary movies have. Like 3 is a parody of like Signs, 8 Mile, what's the fucker called? The Ring. Yeah. Like all shit from like 2001 and 2002. So it's like if you're a Gen Z kid now, you probably haven't seen those fucking movies.
Definitely not. Definitely, probably not.
Yeah, so it's like, I would think it's funny because I was a kid when those movies were coming out.
Yeah, and I remember seeing Scary Movie as a kid and like thinking it was funny, but I had never seen Scream. So watching it as an adult, it hits harder because you understand the references in Scream.
Yeah, like, you know, and credit where credit's due. Like, I think what saves Scary Movie versus Blackening is Scary Movie has to bank way more on their performance than the writing, and luckily they have relatively strong actors that have like God bless fucking Regina Hall. She's so goddamn hilarious. Her and oh god, what's the other girl's name? The white girl. It's like Brenda, and I'm forgetting the white girl's name, but it's like, yeah, the actors in the Scary Movie franchise throughout are usually pretty fucking funny, in terms of how they perform it. But if you gave it to a lesser actor, it wouldn't be as funny.
Oh, no.
Blackening has good writing and good performances.
Right.
So that's why I think it'll last longer, and it doesn't, like, really directly reference anything in particular.
No, because a lot of the stuff it's referencing is, like, stuff that's within black culture, not necessarily popular culture.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. It's referencing the wider black, like, playing spades.
Or, like, the Kool-Aid joke.
Yeah, god damn. Like, when he was mixing that shit, I'm like, nigga, are you trying to kill him?
Right.
I'm like, Jesus Christ.
And the fact that it came back when he got a cramp towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, but it's like, in the Blackening game itself, I thought was fucking hilarious. Because I'm sitting there answering the questions, and they're funny jokes. If you're in the, like the lift every voice and sing joke. Yeah. Had me in fucking stitches. Because I'm over here like, lift every voice and it's like, what's the second verse? Oh fuck! Oh, I'm like, oh, I'm dead. Shit. It was like, it was that one, like the Friends one. It's like trick question. Don't nobody black give a fuck about Friends. It's like
right. It's like
that's a fair point.
I'm black. I didn't watch that show. I watched Living Single.
It was just like which Friends did notoriously rip off of. I think the creators admitted it.
Wow, did they?
Yeah, I think they admitted it a while ago. That's like, oh yeah, no, we took the concept of Living Single, did it with white people, and made more money, and they got paid ridiculously more.
Damn, that sucks.
It's like on record.
That's crazy.
It's bullshit, but yeah. But it's like the actual game the movie is centered around is also like funny. Because like, have you ever played those like Black Card Revoked? It's basically that, but in like a Monopoly form, or like Jumanji or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a negroided up Jumanji, and I'm like that, and it's actually because it's funny because these are, it's like even culturally those are games that we play.
Right.
You know, it's like asking shit about like Uno and things like that. So it's like knowing the culture allows for you to satirize and make actually funny jokes. So I think it'll last longer.
Yeah, I agree. So I think the one thing that it didn't hit on for me, or like, I don't even know if it's like a ding towards the movie, but I saw it coming, was the thing with Clifton.
Oh yeah, I saw that coming too.
Yeah, I thought it was coming very early on in the movie.
It was relatively like early on. I'm just like,
I was like I was giving him the side eye the entire time. I'm like, nobody invited this nigga to the party.
Nobody invited your ass,
right? And especially after he like got killed, I'm like, oh yeah, it's definitely him. He's definitely
behind him. Yeah. That was the moment where it's just like when he got killed off. I'm like, oh, it's him.
Yeah.
I don't know how. You just kind of got a sense for it.
Yeah, because
like,
you've seen horror movies, you know how this shit goes.
Yeah, and just like he did it. Now his reasoning why and his backstory to it, that's something. This is not the right movie to have the conversation about Clifton and his villain origin story. We don't have time, or this is not the appropriate movie to have a conversation about Clifton being low-key like evil Donald Glover.
Being exiled by the culture.
Yeah, being exiled, what it means to be exiled by the culture and what that does to a person.
Right. I've seen a lot of these motherfuckers pop up on TikTok too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, have you seen that one dude with like the blue eyes? He's like, I didn't have a lot of black friends growing up because all the black people made fun of me. Have you seen that?
The one trend I remember seeing is everybody says I look like a black girl that dates white guys, and like you look and you know,
right?
You always know.
Yeah, you can see it. You can tell.
Like, but then again, no shade. You know when it's a black guy that dates white girls too.
100%.
It's like you know, like there's a weird kind of vibe. So it's like when you look,
energy to it.
Yeah, so it's like you look at Clifton. I'm like, you got bullied a lot by what was it? Tyler the Creator said 2 black for the white kids and 2 white for the blacks. But I think that was Tyler. So it's like that. So it's like Clifton's character as a villain, I think, is a good concept. What surprised me the most is how he got out of prison for the crime that he committed. Yeah, I'm like, ain't no way, no black man. That was the only thing.
I mean, that's grad school.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I had to suspend my disbelief for. I'm just like, nah, bro, you would definitely still be in the box for that shit.
Right.
But it's like there is a whole like video essay about what it means to be a black person rejected by the culture particularly now because it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
Because like you can get canceled on Twitter for stupid shit, like Keke Palmer's baby daddy, not husband. Way to fumble that bag, buddy. Was like is getting canceled because he like tried to low key police her body because Usher was singing to her. Some silly shit.
Right.
Some silly shit. He's getting canceled over that. To be ostracized is to be like what was the name of that black dude that was running for like governor of Georgia and his son was like a
Herschel Walker?
Yeah, Herschel Walker's son, Christian Walker.
Christian Walker? His son ran for something too?
No, his son is like or was like staunchly Republican, like he was a gay black conservative.
Really?
Yeah, but
I did not know that.
But he was also kind of like basically abandoned by his father. So he's like he doesn't like his dad, and he always like he didn't speak highly of him, particularly to my understanding. So it's like Christian Walker is somebody that I could observe, like basically any black Republican is someone that has felt at some point ostracized. And what was Clifton? He voted for Trump twice.
Yep.
You know, he's a nerdy looking dude. You know, speaks out of the side of his mouth like this. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like that vaguely intellectual. He can't play spades.
Right.
And mind you, I can't play spades.
I've never learned. I'll be honest.
I haven't either.
Woo, okay.
Freely admitting that this is a safe space.
This is a safe space. Safe podcast.
Because if somebody's like, you know, it's just like, oh, let's play spades. You got it. I am not.
Right. Because anyone never taught you how to play spades.
No, and that's the thing. Because
exactly,
it's not only that you either know or you don't know. Right. There is no in between.
And then if you don't know and you tell people you don't know, you're going to get clowned for not knowing.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why you keep your mouth shut and play Uno like anyone else. It's like, you know how to play spades, boy? Oh, no, you got it, dog. I'm going to wait till y'all load up the Uno. Because Uno, I'll whoop somebody's ass.
I'll fuck some Uno
I'll
up.
fuck somebody up in Uno, but like domino, spades, have it.
Right. I think I remembered how to play domino. I learned a long time ago, but I haven't played in some time.
I think I briefly watched somebody play it as a kid, but it's like, but that aside, it's like Clifton's character is a very, very interesting villain. It is not the right movie for that to be explored. That's like a.
I like that you say that. I like that you say that because
he's like a villain in a Boots Riley project. Because to apply his character in a modern context requires a little bit more nuance. Because like that's like.
It's interesting that you say that, and I think I had that thought in my head, but like it wasn't until this moment where it kind of like clicked for me. Is the fact that he is this villain within this movie, but we're given so little time to really explore what that means, and really, him and his existence is the byproduct of our characters and their the movie never challenges the characters and like changes our perspective because he's done such horrible things at this point.
Right.
There's never like a oh damn maybe we shouldn't have made fun of him kind of moment.
Yeah, no, he did. By the end of the movie, he's like relatively irredeemable.
Yeah, it's like
his actions. So it's like, but his character innately, like, had he not done that, there's a really interesting character in Clifton as like a villain for that movie that maybe someday I'll do like a video essay or some shit about that because like it's really the old archetype in the modern context of this person is very different because it's just like you remember Judas and the Black Messiah?
Yeah.
You remember Bill, like one of the lead characters that Lakeith Stanfield played?
Yeah.
In the movie. So I remember having a conversation when I was doing the review for Review New. And I was just like, I hated Bill because I felt like he was a race traitor. So if Blackening was made in like the 80s, Clifton would probably be more either like Bill or like Clarence Thomas. It'd be more obvious. Mm-hmm. But in a modern sense, with a more intersectional grouping of black, like you look at this group, you have a biracial black girl, you have a plus size black woman, you have a black man who's like reformed from the streets, married to a white woman, you know, does meditation. You have an African man. You have
a gay black man.
You have a gay black man. You know, you have a beautifully diverse subculture of black people, but there is still a type of black person that gets left out of the mix, and it's not the weird avant-garde alternative type of black person. No, it's somebody whose either... I think the consistency between something from the past and something from the present is if you don't align with certain cultural expectations, you will be kind of left out to dry.
Yeah.
I think that was the issue that, ironically, since we're here for BLERDCON, that was the issue that black nerds faced up until like 2011, 2012, when like the I would say the schema just spiked because of Donald Glover and Janelle Monáe and
right, the paradigm is shifting.
Yeah, it's like the paradigm shifted. So not only did the culture get more nuanced in a beautiful way, so now you see all these beautiful arrays of like you have gay black men, you know, trans black women, and like black female lawyers, and like black black big girls, and body positivity and stand up and shit like that. But we still have a good amount of shit that we're in common about. So it's like they still drink Kool-Aid. They still, roast each other, joan on each other and shit.
Right.
You know, so it's like they still have like this fraternity, this camaraderie. We still have like, so it's like, go ahead, black king, or go ahead, sis. We still have our dialect. Some people still get left to the wayside. Yeah,
and I'm realizing that, like, granted, those old narratives of what it means to be a black person still exists, and I can tell that maybe some of it's in old heads and maybe some of it's in like geographical, because I remember I told my barber that I was going to BLERDCon. He's a black barber. He's like, oh, okay, like, so you're a nerd. I'm like, okay, like, yeah, like they don't get it, you know. And I feel like, that I feel like maybe in some areas of the country that thing of like kids still getting bullied for liking things that aren't necessarily popular or mainstream is still happening.
Yeah, it's like you get left out for not being black enough.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of the blackening game, is like how black are you?
Right.
Like the game in and of itself, which it's like Clifton's motivation is like, you teased me and left me out of the group because you quote unquote thought I wasn't black enough.
Right.
It's like I wasn't black enough and
in your eyes, to your standards.
Yeah, it's like you weren't meeting to that. Yeah, you weren't meeting our thresholds of blackness, and it's like, we have this which it says a lot about a person because of how like diverse that friend group in particular is, and that somebody still gets left out.
Yeah. Which is sad.
Yeah. Now, granted, egregious shit, and I'm definitely probably not trusting somebody that voted for Trump twice as a black man.
No.
It's like, dog, didn't you see the statistics? Like, mind you, black men voting for Trump went down between elections, and the fact that you stuck around statistically says a lot about you. But it's like, but nonetheless, it's like, yeah, it's like it's like you taking it. One aspect about black culture is that I would say that isn't spoken about as much is kind of the social expectation of us to be mentally like strong. That's, I think, why a lot of times culturally we engage in like using roast battles. Even like rap battles and shit like that. They're like, that's some egregious shit that you're saying. It's like, oh, I know you're not talking old Bigfoot head ass niggas. It's like, I was like, oh boy, I'm about to lay in your ass net. Like that, they had that joke on Craig of the Creek where he had them goofy ass shoes and he walked over and you just see, they start cheesing and then you just see fire shoot out the side and he comes back and he's scorched. He's like, what happened? He's like, they roasted me for my shoes. They roasted me for things I didn't even know I could be roasted about. And so it's like you being able to withstand social pressures. Now, I'm sure there's some sort of civil rights tied to that. But it's like that's kind of part of the culture. Like black Twitter can be fucking ruthless.
Yeah.
Like, again, going back to the baby daddy shit. He's getting dragged. Dude, I was talking shit about him early. So it's just like you being able to withstand being around being teased. Yeah. You're gonna get teased.
Right.
And if you can't handle it, then you probably won't be long for the culture. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just saying it's common.
Yeah. And I feel like and I think with that comes like this, because we're here for BLERDCON right now.
Right.
That's why we're in the same room.
Right.
And I feel like with something like BLERDCON, it's a bubble or subcategory of black culture, but yet it's a very black experience.
Right.
But I think that within this subsection of the black experience that we're attending for this weekend, there is a lot of camaraderie. There is that level of play and teasing, but there's also a lot of acceptance here as well, which is something that's not widely given or shared within the black community, because there are people of the LGBT community here. There are people that are kind of outside of their bubble, that are
like
in different ways in Clifton, but would be considered outsiders, but they find like safe haven within this space.
Right.
And I feel like, you know, that's not something that's accessible everywhere.
Right.
And I think we just have to, I don't know, there's nuance to the shit, you know?
Yeah, no, Clifton, not him particularly as a character, but in terms of what he represents, is the outsider black kid that gets left behind, and kind of what happens when that guy gets left to his own devices without a good support group. Because that, you know, he was trying to make friends with him, so that would have been his support, but they kind of, you know, didn't keep up with him, or they just like they probably would have. Mm-hmm.
I don't know the story. I don't know her story too well, but I would be willing to bet that Candace Owens' story is not too different than Clifton's experience.
It's honestly not. I mean, she, you know, her history of grifting is like out there. Like she got backed by the NAACP for her racism case.
She got backed by them?
She, if I recall correctly, Candace Owens, when she was in high school, was getting mercilessly bullied by white kids.
Really?
And so her district, and I think the NAACP backed her, some sort of like legal battle happened that she won.
What?
You know, so it's like she used to be a member of like her school's like diversity coordination and shit like that. So that's why a lot of people don't respect Candace, because you can find like the newspaper articles of all of this happening.
So she turned her back.
Yeah.
They were there for her.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's why, because like people, she's a turncoat, but but it's like, I'm sure right now she feels like, oh, people don't side with me. Oh, black people abandoned me just because I'm a free thinker and I have my own belief. The Clifton shit, you know, it's just like where it's just like, no, we didn't turn our backs on you because you were thinking what you were thinking. That didn't help. Now that we know it, but we turned our backs on you because, you know...
You turned your back on us.
Yeah, you turned your back on us. So it's just like, you know, we teased you and you immediately took it personally. Mm. Now, that doesn't excuse the teasing, per se. But it's like, you turned your back, you know, it's like you turned your back because you thought we turned our back versus coming to us and being like, hey, that, like, standing up for yourself. Yeah, I think is a thing. Again, I'm not saying this is the right way to go about it, but I'm like examining kind of cultural dynamics that we probably are complicit in to some capacity. But it's just like, you know, if you're black, someone's gonna say it's like, old heads will tell you it's just like, you know, it's like, you better whoop their ass before I whoop your ass.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to stand up and fight your own fight for yourself, because no one else will do it for you.
Right.
So it's like, hey, if somebody's teasing you, you better say something to them, because no one else is going to do it. And so if you feel like you're left out, not everybody's first thought is going to be, oh, let me go confront the people that are teasing me or even bullying me in some circumstances. You know, no, that's not Candace's situation. She's just a dirty grifter who likes money. But like for Clifton's, I can definitely see, like, given what the, you know, he's a bit character in a very funny comedy movie. But there's a lot to dig in there that I think a lot of people might connect with, whether they know it or not. Because it's like, you know, feeling like you aren't black enough is there's not like an imposter syndrome.
I think in retrospect, the villain being the black person that was ostracized, and then having that revelation of that's why the character's doing what they're doing, and the characters not having some sort of revelation or arc or change in relation to that person's experience and how they can improve upon that. I feel like rubbed me the wrong way, because I feel like there was no, I don't know, maybe there wasn't a lesson to be learned. Maybe there was just like addressing that that's something that happens within the culture in general.
And that's why I said Clifton. I think Clifton is fine as a villain for what the movie is, where it's just like, like Black Twitter, Black culture jokes about horror, which I think is a great premise. I think it's a strong premise. So I think innately you have to make sacrifices for like a around 90-minute movie.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get super deep with it.
Yeah, it's like the movie is not trying to tell a message, but the fact that we can extrapolate this much from it just via cultural context, I think, is very good.
Yeah,
in the movie's favor. But yeah, that's why I said it's like Clifton as a villain. The exploration required to dig into him is its own like separate thing. Mm-hmm. It is related to him, but that's a whole separate like discussion in medium. Like it would not fit in the movie. I don't think it would.
No, not in this movie specifically. I would like to explore it in a different movie for sure.
Oh no, I'd absolutely love to explore like that topic, and I think for more of a like comparison type deal, Swarm sort of does something like that, like exploring a black woman serial killer with like do the bad one first. Exploring. God damn it! I lost my train of thought. Anyways, it's a good movie.
I know it kind of took you off track there for a second.
No, you're good. Yeah, it would feel forced and out of place if they did try to do something.
Yeah, but it made me want to see it within a different context of another story.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. It's like Swarm taking the premise of like a black woman serial killer who clearly has like repressed queerness and mental health issues and abandonment issues and attachment disorders. So it's just like that's a medium to actually explore that. Like there is a legitimately terrifying version of this character in his own like Swarm type TV show.
I could see that.
Trying to get revenge on each of his peers who he had like that is like.
I think that would be a more uncomfortable watch than Swarm was.
Yeah, because
in a different vein though.
Yeah, I mean, it's making me think. So there's a movie that came out recently that I need to see. I think it's like I think it's called A Black Girl and Her Monster.
I saw that. I haven't seen the movie, but I saw
the trailer for it. It looks really good.
Trailer or like a clip from it. I want to watch it really bad.
There is a nuance. There is a version of Clifton's story as like a actual horror product that is a psychological exploration into black men's rage, but it's like subcultured black men's rage. Mm. So it's like and there is a partial discussion about what produces black men conservatives that are angry. Mm. Like, because that's like technically, if you step back, that's what Clifton is a pissed off, black Republican.
Yeah.
There's a nuanced version of that conversation of like, why are you mad at these people? Why do you feel left at? It's Clarence Thomas's origin story.
I think they say why specifically that he's mad at them because like
if
it wasn't for that experience he wouldn't have killed that girl.
And wound up in jail. Yeah, it's like for him, there's a direct explanation, but there's an alternate take on the Blackening that's like a straightforward like psych horror where they don't make it out.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And there's like a level of like misogynoir and internalized racism and a sense of like cultural abandonment and lacks of like community support. Like there's a whole alternate version of this character that's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
But it would be a hard thing to. I would trust someone who is probably not like... I would trust somebody who is in a black subculture of some degree. Mm-hmm. Be it queerness or difference in size or mental health status. Like, I can't see, like... I would not, if it's like, oh, Jay-Z's writing a show about black... No. I would not trust that. You know, it's like, I wouldn't trust that, or like Ari Aster trying to do it or some shit like that. It's like, it wouldn't work. No. You need somebody that would be on the receiving end to be able to kind of produce a sort of sympathetic understanding argument of what builds that type of monster to that point. Because it's like, you know, in my personal life, it's like I do work with a lot of black men, and I can see how our brothers can end up, not in situations like Clifton per se, but having your feelings, especially as a black man, kind of disregarded or minimized. Yeah. Especially like anger or frustration. Like, nigga, take it on the chin. Like, you'll be all right.
No, yeah, because I feel like a lot of black men are told to like suppress their feelings. Like, their feelings aren't matter. Like, they have to do these things or be a certain way because that's what's expected of them. Because that's what, you know, you're not hard, or you're not tough if you're not, you know, abiding by this way of living or this way of dealing with your problems, you know. Yeah,
one of I think the paradoxes of masculinity, particularly black masculinity, is from a young age, the expectation to adopt adult male responsibilities, but to neglect yourself and not view yourself as an adult in a way. So
say it again for the people in the back.
Like, you have to put everybody in front of yourself, and you have to consciously neglect yourself in service of others, not only because it is expected of you, but now you believe like that's the only way you can perform being authentic. Which is not exactly true, but a lot of guys don't have support. Like, I think that's the thing, is like a lot of guys don't.
So it's like almost like this like ingrained habitual altruism in a way. Like, you have to put everybody, but not coming from a place of like.
It's not coming from a place of.
It's obligatory altruism.
Yeah, it's not even obligatory. It's mandatory.
Mandatory. Yeah.
It's a mandatory responsibility that's thrust upon you just because you're a man. So it's like and this is not taking away from the intention of this, but if an emergency happens, women and children first.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, well, fuck me then. I guess I'm just in the burning house, huh? You know?
Yeah, because it's just like, you know, we're the ones that have to.
You have to make sure everybody...
Because that's the duty of the man.
Yeah. So it's like... And I'm not saying that there are not spaces for those roles to be the case, but damn. It's like, hey, look, if you die, it's okay. What?
You matter the least.
Yeah, it's like... And that's what I think a lot of guys think. And that's why I think a lot of guys are angry, and that anger is not being met with empathy, because the way that message is often delivered is a lot. People don't know how to engage with I would say, I think people misconstrue feminine frustration for actual anger, and masculine frustration or masculine anger with like violence. And it's not always one-to-one. You know, it's like it's a lot more tricky than that. But you would only know that if you like talk to guys after they know how to talk.
And it's sad. I feel like
it is sad. It's really
sad because sad. I feel like being able to access and understand how you're feeling is considered to be a feminine trait, but I feel like that should just be a human trait.
No, I do a lot of work in terms of navigating emotions and behavior with my like actual job. So one of the first things I teach men is that if you are adopting a quote unquote like masculine approach to your relationship with your emotions, it's not stoicism. It is emotional awareness to the point of you maintaining absolute control over your behaviors. So it's not that you're stifling the fact that you're sad. It's, you know what, this situation is making me very sad. How do I want to engage with that feels appropriate for me? It may be a matter of I need to cry, or it might be a matter of it's like I may not have the opportunity to get the support I need by crying now, so I may have to hold that temporarily for my own sake so that I can find a safe place to cry later. Those are different things versus just like, fuck
suppressing
that.
Everything versus mastery. Like,
yeah, it's like
comprehension.
There's
emotional comprehension. There's emotional knowledge of what to do with that comprehension.
Yeah, because it's like because if you stifle it or you ignore it, it's gonna turn into kind of a rubber band ball.
And it's gonna explode. It's gonna come out another way.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's like, Jesus, it's like, why did John try to kill himself the other day? It's like, because he's been hiding his feelings for the past 30 years because he feels like everybody's dependent on him and he's stressed the fuck out.
Right.
It's like,
don't feel like you matter.
Yeah, and there's a lot of men that don't feel like they matter. It's really like rough to encounter. Like, it's a beautiful thing seeing men gain the language of knowing how they communicate best or what their feelings mean to them. But it bothers me that it's so, because like on the bright side, a lot of times, I work with men who have kids. And so I'm like, hey, this is something you can apply when working with your kids, especially if you have sons. But I feel bad because I'm like, this is something that has permeated way deep into even our generation, like as recently as our generation. So up to almost 20, 30 years ago. So I'm hopeful that the needle is starting to change, even in little ways, but it's definitely rough shit to watch.
Yeah, and I feel like, and I don't know if you can speak to this experience, but there's someone within my life who tries to talk to me from a place of like, oh, you need to do this and this with your life because it's going to propel you into the future for like real estate or housing, or like you need like a government job, this and that, right? And then, but it's coming from a place of authority, like a place of like a TED talk, like, oh, these are the right things to do for life. But behind that sense of authority comes with like, well, I tell you this because like I almost lost my house, I almost went through all of these struggles, right? And they're like, oh, why didn't you tell me that? Why didn't you lead with that experience? Because that's what's human. That's what connects us. It's like, well, I didn't want to lead with that experience because it hurts to talk about those things.
It's like, but I need empathy is truly your humanity connecting with someone else's humanity. Yeah. So it's like you can't brush that, because part of that humanity and part of those emotions provides context. Exactly. But I think part of what you're speaking, there's definitely multifaceted aspects, and then we can move on to some of the other movies. One of the things I run into when I do communication work is that, and it's something even I adopt a little bit in my own relationship, is a lot of guys are fixers. Yeah. I'm about to give a really disturbing psychological cheat code. If you want to psychologically break a man, you make him feel useless. So a lot of men navigate situations, and I think this is why a lot of people say men are more logically brained, or because a lot of ways that we engage with problem solving is solution oriented versus something more integrative, which means that sometimes the solution is a resolution from an emotional context. It is not always do this to have this impact. Sometimes it's a matter of what is done is like listening, or what is done is talking, or or what is done is like thinking or reflecting or meditating. It's not always as dynamic as it may seem sometimes. So it's that mixed with if you're constantly you can't view your emotions as a problem to be fixed. They're just a facet of who you are. Emotions don't have morality, behaviors do. So it's just and that's a key thing that I try to help people know. I'm just like, whatever you're feeling is not, there's nothing to apologize for. Sure, it can be weird. Sometimes the context that informs those emotions can be odd or obtuse, or unusual. And you have to think about that. But the thing that's gonna have moral is the thing that you do about it at the end of the day. But what you feel, that's neutral. That's innately neutral, because if you are angry but you feed the homeless, build birdhouses, it's just help out in your community, and it's engage in physical fitness, you help out kids on the playground. If that's how you channel your anger, and it's just extremely productive, it's yeah, you're angry, but you're not there's no moral judgment. It's
right, you find healthy ways to deal with those feelings.
Right. So it's it's not the anger that's the issue, it's the thing that's done. Now if you get angry and start cussing niggas out, then you might have a little problem. It's so that's really the big thing. But it's it's we could definitely have a whole side segment about just men and masculinity, because that's a whole fun little conversation. It's there's a it's I have love for men, and it's I very much love and appreciate you. As a very, very close friend of mine, and I want you to know that, especially on the record.
I love and appreciate you too, man.
Obviously, but it's because a lot of guys don't hear that, especially from other guys. Even our boy my boy that we were hanging out with earlier is just that's a close friend of mine from school and from childhood. Yeah. So it's just I try to reinforce because I see regularly guys that don't get it, because you're expected. Right. For it. And I tell people, especially in relationships all the time, you have to constantly reaffirm the thing that's going right, or they will question it the minute something goes wrong. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be seeded with doubt, because it's I got a text from my bae a little bit ago, just hey, I appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Out of the blue. Granted, drinking, but hey, look, I'll take it for what it is. And it's that's a sweet thing. Not everybody gets that.
Yeah, words of affirmation.
Yeah, it's just and having that be consistent. So it's it's not only saying it, for any reason just to say it, but it's saying it's because it's true. Because it's oh, you're supposed to do that. Yeah, you are, but it doesn't mean that you don't appreciate it. Right. So if it's hey, can you take out the trash? Sure, I can. Thank you. Yeah, you're supposed to take out the trash, but it's nice to be reminded that people appreciate you for doing it. Yeah. It's those little things psychologically go a long way.
A lot of things for men don't go.
That's why we remember
don't receive gratitude. Yeah.
That's why I remember compliments for years and shit. Because it's oh shit, I'm not used to hearing that. It's I'm not accustomed to that shit. So.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of things that we would like to get received compliments for, or appreciation for, things that are considered to be expected,
Right, and that's the thing is it's not that there's nothing wrong with setting and creating and maintaining responsibilities and expectations, but it is important to express gratitude to the people that are maintaining that. Yeah, that's why even for veterans, it's oh, thank you for your service. It's yeah, they're supposed to do that, but being is I help people. I protect people, blah, 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 blah. It's wow, thank you for that gentle reminder that what I am doing is actually making a difference, or that it's actually valuable, aside from the fact that it's expected of me.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Those little gestures can go a long way.
Men don't hear words of affirmation enough.
No, we don't. It's we and even did you send that to me, or did I send that to you? That TikTok of a guy just giving men flowers.
I didn't send that to you.
Okay, somebody sent it to me, or I saw it and I sent it around. I'm just this is wild. It was just he was going up to random men. He was giving them flowers, and just I think a couple dudes cried, but it was some were just oh, wow, this is nice. Oh, thank you. That's some shit those motherfuckers can remember for years.
Of course,
I guarantee you.
Of course,
for years. It's I got a compliment on my eyelashes my freshman year of college. That was 10 years ago. I still remember that shit.
Yeah, you don't hear that shit often, man.
It's because I'm not saying other people don't deserve appreciation. They absolutely do. I'm just saying it is particularly unique to be a man and have the people that love you and care about you in your life express gratitude for what you do and what you maintain. It is a beautiful thing, and it is a very important thing to kind of receive. But it's also like, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Like you give it back too. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, you know, so it's like me in my relationship. One of the things I love is that like reciprocation is an important thing.
Reciprocity is huge.
Yeah, so it just randomly, like in the middle of my day or work, I'm just like, hey, thank you for being the way that you are, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate it, like, you know, this specific whatever about you. And be like, I was just thinking about you and about to say the same thing, motherfucker. So it's like, it's fun but playful, but it's just like, yeah, it's coming from a good place. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I know that you give a shit about me, so I can be secure about what I want to give to you. And that goes for like friendships, relationships. You know, that's why capitalism isn't keeping people in their jobs because they don't trust them. That's a whole separate conversation.
Talk to them.
Were there any other movies we wanted to briefly touch on before we get into all this multiverse shit?
I don't know, man. You see Transformers?
No, I mean, I heard it was fun. Did you see it?
I did. It's okay.
Did you see Little Mermaid?
I did. I liked it.
Yeah, it was
okay.
All
right.
Holly was great. And you know my diatribe and beef with Eric, but
ooh, okay. So one I did, because it's kind of similar on this train we're talking about.
Okay.
One I did kind of want to bring up briefly was Elemental. I really liked Elemental.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I'll say it for this one reason, and then we can move on to our main topic.
No, sure.
Because Elemental did an interesting thing where it's about these two elements that fall in love, right?
Right.
And the female is fire, and the guy is water.
Oh, okay.
And the interesting thing about it is that for the girl, and I'll give you I won't tell you the entire plot, but just like the basic thing is that it's about this family of fire immigrants that move to this city, and this dad starts his shop, and he raises his daughter within the shop. So then she wants to build the legacy, continue the legacy of what her father had established. But she's like this hot-headed woman. She's like, she's like this this passionate, like quick to anger person. And the guy, he is very like sensitive. Like he when you first meet him, he's crying because he like, oh no, I did this thing and then so it's interesting that he's like the sensitive, emotional one, and she's like the one that's quick to anger, that doesn't know how to process her emotions.
Okay, that is interesting.
Yeah, so they flip the male-female dynamic of like with him being the sensitive, in touch with his feelings one, and her being like the closed off, quick to anger. When she's afraid, she gets upset. When she's afraid, she turns angry. So I thought that was fascinating because, like, one, to be within a kids movie, and two, to flip those social norms within just and using the elements as the thing to propel that narrative.
Okay. I guess that gives a little bit more justification.
But no one's really talking about that. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I appreciated the movie for doing that.
That's really cool. I guess minor quick thing that I just found out. Black Lace Sketch Show is not getting renewed for season 5. I mean, I'm not surprised.
I haven't seen any of the show.
It's a sketch show, so it is very hit or miss. I respect the fact that, hey, it got 4 relatively short. Like, each season's only 6 episodes.
Okay. So
it's like you could get through that in a day. It's solid. Some bits land better than others. I appreciate. I mean, I saw this coming. Like, the fact that it got a season 4 honestly impressed me. I was predominantly sticking with it just because, like, I like the cast, and some of the writing. There's a couple of recurring jokes that I think are funny, and a couple of recurring characters I think are funny. Like, you can tell who's who. There's some jokes that I think land a lot better than others. Like, I do still to this day. There's a bit about a grown ass woman pretending to be a 3-year-old. And so every now and then I'll just be like, "What up? I'm 3."
I gotta see that one.
Yeah, it was like that one. I think that's on YouTube. You can probably watch it later or some shit. But okay, Jesus fucking Christ, where to start? Where to begin? So let's get into the multiverse portion of today. So let's start with the bad one first. It's not even that bad.
It's okay.
Let's talk about the Flash. Let's talk about the positives first.
Okay.
Because talking about negatives is very easy. Positives. I think the opening 15 minutes is actually pretty strong, aside from a couple minor critiques.
Okay.
Like the whole Justice League setup portion. I think it opens strong. I think it's creative with its lettering. Batfleck is good in the movie. Okay.
His outfit is not.
No.
But he is.
The colors, yes. The design, no. But I've always hated his outfit anyway, so it's nothing new for me. Compliments. It certainly surprised me. So, okay, all things considered, Ezra does act. They give a good strong performance in the movie.
Yeah. I got some nice things to say about the movie.
Yeah, no, I have compliments. I'm racking my brain like going through it. We're going full spoilers for both of these. Yeah, no, it's people were sucking this movie's dick for the longest time prior to release. That's
the main reason I was excited for it. Or like wanted to finally see it because
I'm just like
Stephen King, Tom Cruise, James Gunn, all like giving it the highest praise.
Well, James has to, but
yeah, but
yeah, it's like Stephen King and Tom Cruise coming out.
No, James does not have to. You know why? Because he did not show that same love for Shazam or for Aquaman.
Well,
only for Flash.
To be fair, Aquaman hasn't come out. Oh, he hasn't commented on Aquaman.
He's not commenting.
It comes
out
in December.
No, he didn't give any of that love for Shazam.
But yeah, it's like I remember all the
Blue Beetle.
I thought you said you liked Blue Beetle. No, he said
Blue Beetle's the first one to set up. The only one he commented was Flash, and that was before Flash came out.
Yeah. All right, you got a point there.
Essentially, like he's like, fuck those other movies. It's all about the Flash.
Yeah, you got a point there. I guess we'll see. Only time will tell. But yeah, it's like the movie is well acted. Like I like the fact that Barry actually works in a forensic science lab. Sorta. I really like Sasha Kaye. I really liked her.
Okay.
There are problems with the character, yes, that you brought to my attention, but I like the actress. Keaton seems like he gives a shit. You know, okay. He is acting in this movie. I have no complaint. This is the best Ezra's done with the character. It helps that Barry's just better written here overall.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm still not sold.
Fuck you turn it into negatives.
I'm trying to. We'll get to. I'm trying to stay positive. The suit sorta grew on me.
He's trying.
I'm trying to. Here's the thing. I don't hate the movie. When I came out of it, I'm like, oh, that was good. It just wasn't this fucking game changer like everyone was saying that it was.
No, and I think also
this movie got blown way. It's like, oh, the MCU is dead. It's a wrap. This is changing comic book movies forever. I'm like,
also
did we watch? What parallel universe did y'all slip into?
Right. Also, we were just spoiled by Spider-Man, so that's the fucking gold standard as well.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man will be studied in schools.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that. We'll get to that when we get to that, because that's nothing but high praise. But yeah, what positives do you have for the movie? I do think it opens pretty damn strong.
For The Flash, okay, let's see. Positives I have. I liked the music. I thought the score was really strong.
I did actually really like the score.
The score was really good.
I saw people complaining about it. I actually liked the score for this.
Yeah, the score was great. I thought... Okay, here we go. Damn, now that I'm actually talking about it. Okay, I thought the story was really strong. I thought Ezra Miller's performance was strong, even though I will give some critiques later on.
We will, but it was good.
But I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna try to see some nice things. Okay, I thought Michael Keaton was good.
Mm-hmm.
For the role that they had him in. I do have problems with that aspect of things.
Sure.
But we'll get into that later.
Had a good use of
I liked the
fuck.
I like for good use of fuck. I like the first 15 minutes of the movie as well. Certain visual elements aside,
we will get into it. I know
we trying out here.
In concept, in relative exception.
In concept, yes. It was good.
Yes, it was good. Not great. It was good.
Let's see. I think that the humor for the most part worked.
Yeah.
I liked the colors of the movie. I liked that it was brighter.
Yeah. The supporting cast was solid.
Some of the emotional beats really worked.
The family scenes, I think, actually
the family scenes were probably the strongest part of the movie.
The family scenes work very well. I like the directing, actually.
The directing was good.
I quite like Andy Muschietti's like his directing of the movie and like how he handles cinematography. Like, there's actually good creative stuff done in terms of color and angles and things like that. So it's like
the way he shoots action is really good. He did it on that front. With Batman especially, I like the fact that we have a distinct different style with Ben Affleck's Batman versus Michael Keaton's Batman and how they move and through scenarios and stuff.
Yeah.
And those are the nice things. I said the nice stuff.
Okay. Watching this movie made me come to the conclusion, especially as someone that would love to get a superhero role in the future as an actor, just like a big main screen role. Anyone is replaceable. Even like as much as we sang the praise of, we're not gonna get into the whole Jonathan Majors thing of the recent news. We just need to wait for that court case to deal out. Hoping nobody got hurt. That's all I'll say.
Yep.
But watching this made me realize that I'm just like, you can be replaced. Ezra's performance was very good. They can act. I don't want to see him back.
I've been knew that shit, that anyone can be replaced. I don't need to see him back. I never felt like I needed to. I've had 9 years of another Flash, so the fact that anyone's even saying that he's irreplaceable as Flash, like, no, we've had multiple Flashes. Like, we'll move on. We'll be okay.
I think it's like watching this. The thing is, like, Ezra's my relationship with Ezra's.
They're an acquired taste.
Huh?
I said they're an acquired taste.
Yeah. But no, for sure. But it's like my relationship with Ezra's performance has been very contentious. And it's like, it's improved over time. And this is like the most positive I've seen of it. So I went from fucking hating them in terms of like the character and the way it was written and the performance, even down to the costume and the running. Jesus. To being like, that was actually pretty darn good. I don't care to ever see this version again. I am with open arms welcoming a much better, more interesting, more just down to earth, honestly, version of the Flash. My biggest, I think, issue with this movie, aside from the visual effects, Jesus Christ, what the hell? It doesn't go far enough. Ironically, it doesn't do what Spider-Verse does. We need to talk full spoilers.
It's the anti-Spider-Verse, even.
It kind of is. We need to fucking talk about the collision course universe sequence near the end.
That happens.
I know we're skipping around. It's not just it didn't go far enough, and it bothered me because it's showing all these worlds colliding, and I'll give them this: throwing in the Thanagarian Snare Beast and Superman Lives Clark. Didn't expect to see that shit ever. Like, no. I was shouting at my fucking screen, like, the fucking Thanagarian Snare Beast? Who the fuck remembers that?
Right.
And it's like, people that know, people know, but like, why were all these universes centric on Superman? Yeah. There was one other Flash cameo. Why did you use a Superman who has a very tragic personal story, Probably because you didn't have to clear any rights with any living family member. Because they're not
George Reeves.
Yeah, George Reeves.
Yeah.
Why did you pick that? I know Adam West had a cameo, so I'm sure his estate had something to say. But, like, there's no... Crisis on Infinite Earths on the TV show did more than this did.
Yeah.
That had fucking Robin from Batman 66. It had Titans. It had Lucifer. It had, who's our boy? Kevin Conroy as a dark Batman. Now, granted, like, the writing on that, sure, is one thing, but it had them. It had Superman Returns Superman. Like, it was way more ambitious. And that was a TV show with a TV budget. Now, granted, the writing of that was basically Endgame for TV screens. This didn't go far enough. It's like, it's trying to get us to suck its dick with the cameos that were poor visuals of a lot of dead people and a bunch of randoms. Also, I'm sorry, and this is a very petty gripe. Mm-hmm. Why wasn't Grant there?
He should have been. Even the guy who was Flash, who was there, they didn't even have him come back to film. They just used, like, they either, like, digitally used him.
I think it was old digital footage.
It was like the guy who played Zoom on the show.
Yeah.
The Flash show.
Yeah.
He was like, I didn't film anything for that movie. But it was that actor's face and likeness, which is very odd.
That sounds illegal somehow.
But they own the characters, I guess.
Because it was supposed to be Jay Garrick, but it's like...
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, Grant's, no pun intended, Grant's run, 9 years. His show ended right before the movie came out. It started, what, 2 days after? No, the Flash movie got announced, what, 2 days before or 2 days after the TV show started. Mm-hmm. In the nine seasons, almost 10 years of TV, where people have grown, connected, and associated with a completely different Flash.
Right.
Like, all intents and purposes, aside from Wally from the cartoon, Grant Gustin has been Barry Allen for hundreds of millions of people. Yeah. Consistently.
Yeah.
Like, by force. With those 26 episode seasons. God bless Grant. It's a fucking nightmare schedule. I would never want to work that. But he did it. Every year he showed up, you know, and showed out and gave as much as he could. Like, to the reason he retired his version of the character is because he wanted to be a family. He wanted to be a father and a husband. And just no respect to him, who is the Flash to a lot of people.
Yeah. And
it's like, I know people have been comparing Ezra and Grant, but they met in his show.
Right.
It's
not like it's out of the realm of possibility for that to happen.
It's not, because it already did.
Right.
And so I thought this was going to be the sequence where they kind of meet, or we see how that exchange happened, or there's any reference to it at all.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it feels... You didn't go far enough with the cameos. Some of the cameos a lot of people view as disrespectful. And then the other guy, the other huge face of the... Like, this would have been a prime opportunity to pull in all the others.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what I was expecting was it was gonna be like what Spider-Verse did. You have different Flashes from different mediums in their own Chrono Bowls. So you have Grant in the Arrowverse. You have JL with the Timverse. You have 90s Flash, you know, showing up with that version from his actor.
Right.
Because
John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah, John Wesley Shipp's Flash. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, there was no John Wesley Shipp.
Nope.
No John Wesley Shipp, no Grant Gustin, no animated Flash. It would have been a perfect time to do something that would have been really cool. And just like, it doesn't go far. Like, the Superman Lives thing definitely caught me off guard. I thought that was creative. I didn't hate the CG all throughout.
Certain parts. It was better in some parts than others.
It was, yeah, absolutely.
When you notice it, you notice it.
When you notice it, because it's fucking god awful.
It's awful.
It was like, but I'll give them this, another positive. The VFX on young Ezra looked amazing.
Yeah,
they looked.
Well, debatable. Okay, so let me get into my
outside of the bowl, but yeah, go ahead.
So since we're talking about this, we jumped into the scene of the all the cameos and whatnot.
Yeah, the worlds collide.
The reason why it didn't work was because it was non-essential. It wasn't essential to the story that they were trying to tell.
No, you're right.
Because at the end of the day,
you're right.
It didn't really mean anything because
he doesn't know who those people are.
He doesn't know who those people are. And I feel like something like Spider-Verse was able to incorporate those cameos and those universe shattering implications because it was worked into the story. This was something that Warner Brothers was trying to clap on their back. It was like it was empty calorie fan service. It wasn't fan service that was worked into the plot.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of fan service, this is maybe an unpopular opinion. As cool as I thought he was in the movie, there was no justification for why that needed to be Michael Keaton's Batman. He died, and he wasn't fucking essential. Literally, all he did was tell Barry about the multiverse, which, one, how the fuck does he know about the multiverse? He's Batman in a universe that he's never experienced anything outside of that. But two, there's nothing specifically that happens with this version of Batman that makes him essential to this story. And I feel like a movie that did it better by bringing back legacy characters is even though it has problems of its own, is No Way Home. They incorporated those legacy characters in a way where they were essential to not only the resolution of the plot, but the progression of Spider-Man's character.
Batman
was neither of those things in this movie. And
I'd agree.
Both Batman in this movie and The Flash and Supergirl don't really have arcs. They're the true definition of what it means to be a supporting character, quote unquote, because they aren't treated as characters, they're treated as accessories to Barry's story. And if you're going to include characters, you have to make them full-fledged characters because they don't have arcs. Like, Batman's like, I'm not going to be Batman and help you. And then immediately the next scene is like, okay, I'll help you. And the same thing with Supergirl. No, I don't want to help you. I'm going to go fly to Zod. And for some reason, Zod's not going to follow me. And I'm going to go back to help you like a scene later. And I was just like...
Can we talk about this? The script has a couple weird moments. Like, one of them was when it's like, hey, Batman, are you going to help us? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I'm like,
did he hear me? Like, did he hear what the fuck I just said?
It's like
something about that doesn't compute.
Because I remember seeing like that quote in the ad, and I'm just like, it's an interesting thing to pull out of like the '89 movie, and then you see it in its lack of context.
It's weirder in context.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it makes less sense in context because he just kind of says it. And it's like
it's also
I get the implication is like, oh, this is so crazy, but nobody said it was like, oh, this is a crazy situation. It's like no one said there was no build up to it where it's just like, oh, this is nuts. We could die. It's like, oh, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Right.
It's like, hey, Batman, you ready for like this suicide mission? It's like, you want to get nuts?
No, he's actually like, you want to be in the Justice League?
Yeah, that's what it was. That was the preceding line. It's like, you want to be in the Justice League? You want to get nuts? He's old.
Right.
It's the only thing I can say.
No damn sense.
He's senile.
And it's funny because...
Not the Just Nuts League. Just this.
Right. And it's funny because I have a buddy of mine who lives back in L.A.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really watch trailers, but he was like... I remember he found out that Keaton was going to be in the movie, and he's pissed. It's like, great, they're going to have some lackluster reprisal of some line that doesn't have as much gusto as it did the first time. And it was before it even came out in the trailers. Like, Keaton's going to be like, you want to get nuts?
How the fuck
Let's get nuts.
How did he know?
It literally is the exact thing that happened, bro. It was so bad. Because they always do this shit when they bring back legacy characters. They have them say their lines from before.
Yeah, they're cool.
But it feels so obligatory. They gave it like half the fucking energy.
Yeah, No Way Home at least wasn't that like a... it had maybe one?
It had a couple. I'm something of a scientist myself, and the power of the sum in the palm of my hands.
But even at least... Those make sense.
Those made sense.
Like,
those had they tried, at least.
It's like, at least for those, I'm like, okay, you at least had context. Like, there was build-up versus, you want to be in the Justice League? You want to get nuts? Bitch, what the...
Right.
And, you know how upset I got coming out of this, like, loving Sasha Calle? I'm like, oh, I hope she comes back for Supergirl. I liked her performance. She was so fun. And then I talk to you, and you're like, she had no reason to be there. I'm like, no, she... No! Don't take this away from me, please!
She had no reason to
I'm over here fighting for my fucking life trying to find a reason for her to exist in the movie. And then the only thing that makes it worse is that it would have made more sense if it was Melissa Benoist.
Or Clark. Or actually fucking Superman.
But I mean, they can't get him. But
I know they can't get him. But I feel like it would have made more sense.
Actually, you know what would have made sense if it was Brandon Routh and Melissa Benoist with well, God bless him, like Kevin Conroy before he died. That would have made more sense than the lineup we got.
I think
with like Linda, and that's what I mean about it. It doesn't go far enough. Like
the only reason.
Can you just go finish?
The only reason it would have made sense to include a Supergirl over a Superman is if they utilize the point or what separates Superman from Supergirl is the fact that she has these experiences and these memories of Krypton, which makes her more bitter or makes her go harder than Superman. And Superman has that restraint. I think.
Yeah, she's stronger than him.
She's stronger than him. And I feel like if they would have exercised, this is a structural issue from like Man of Steel, right? If they would have exercised and shown that contrast between how Kara deals with problems versus how Clark deals with problems, and how if Kara handled it Kara's way, it would have consequences for the story. Oh yeah, then it could have been something that would have mattered within the context. But it didn't matter anyway because one, she was barely a character, and two, she fucking died, and three, nothing mattered because they were erased anyway.
Well, also going back to your point, it's fundamentally flawed because our Clark has already like killed 2 aliens.
Exactly.
So it's like what more can she do other than like mass genocide? Right. Which that's what the Kryptonians are here to do. So also
like peekaboo nigga, like Zod saw you. Like what are you? He already saw you. Like what are you doing?
Ruh-roh. No, it's like this, and that's what I mean. It's like this should have been like. If you're gonna for some odd as fuck reason make Flashpoint Paradox your first Flash movie again from jump, horrible idea. But if that's what you're gonna do, make it a celebration of DC's history.
Yeah,
they didn't go far enough. It's like you should have had Mech Suit, Kevin Conroy, Dark Knight Returns Batman, Brandon Routh, everybody that didn't get a good chance should have had a chance to redeem it. Because I don't think, aside from Wally West on The Flash, I don't think the issue has ever been talent with any of DC's live action projects. It's been writing.
It's also a weird choice to make The Flash's first movie a
Batman Supergirl team up.
That, but also a watered down version of Flashpoint, like the event-changing universe movie.
And what's disappointing is, like, again, they didn't go far because Flashpoint has a whole arc that's a war between the Amazons and the Atlanteans.
Okay, I will say one more positive thing before we go back to getting into our negatives.
Okay.
I did think it was clever that the movie utilized an already established Barry Allen meeting a younger version of Barry Allen in the Flash's first movie as a weird justification for getting an origin story for the Flash that we never received in the first place.
No, I'll give you that. That was creative.
That being said, tying that into a Flashpoint movie is a little like a little messy. Even though like, Barry makes some fucking stupid decisions in this movie.
No, he said some
multiple stupid decisions.
No, I mean one of the ones that annoyed me was the whole sequence of them talking about Back to the Future.
Okay.
Where it's just like, it's like, no, Back to the Future is Michael J. Fox. I'm like, dumbass, just Google it.
Thank you. Like, we had like 3 conversations.
The shit went on for like 5 minutes.
Right. I'm like, y'all act like you don't have smartphones. It's 2023.
Like, even when he went back in time, it was 2013.
Right.
You still had smartphones. You had like a laptop right in front of you. It's like, oh, there's no He was on Bing. Yeah. Like, oh, there's no Aquaman. Oh, there's no Wonder Woman. It's like, well, bitch, look up who's in Back to the Future. It's not like the world's gonna not end,
right?
You know, it's just because it was the other actor who was originally supposed to play him and then had to drop out and everything.
Oh yeah, Eric Stoltz.
Yeah. So it was Eric Stoltz. Like, it's like, oh yeah, Marty McFly is Eric Stoltz. He's like, no, it's not. It's Michael J. Fox. And I'm just thinking, Barry, just Google it. Like, it's definitely like it was a scene that went on for too long, too many times. With technology that's like, it's a question that easily is disposable. I'm like, that's a neat reference, but it's like, just look it up.
It's just, it wasn't
like, why are you you ran into yourself in the past, why are you surprised that things are different?
Yeah,
like
you already know that things are different. Why are you fighting with it so hard?
Here's the thing, your mother lived 6 years longer than she was supposed to, or like 10 years longer than she was supposed to. You don't think shit got a little And again,
I don't think that's so crazy.
I'll give them another compliment here. I kind of like the spaghetti philosophy of how they do their multiverse.
Okay.
Only because it is very like comic book esque, where it's like, oh yeah, all shit smashes together and things go haywire in the past, present, and future. I actually enjoy that explanation because that is very, like active timeliney. So I'm just like, okay, no, it's like I like that concept of smashing, all these realities together, and that could have led into that little cameo sequence a little better if it was a little more focused on it. This movie's just really disjointed in like the purpose of Batman being there was to help Barry find Superman, or in this case Supergirl, who both still are doomed to die.
Yeah. The universe he created was fucked from the beginning.
Yeah, it was fucked. So it's like it ultimately means that so Barry has no arc in this movie. It just occurred to me.
He didn't learn shit.
It just occurred to me he has no because he gets his dad extradited from prison, but
he goes through all of that shit to what you think the lesson is. I can't fuck with time, just to fuck with time anyway.
Yeah, it's like I love the fact that they don't say who actually killed his mom. Like they never get to that mystery. Mm-hmm. It's like oh, we acquitted your dad. It's like cool. So who the fuck killed his mom then? Right. It's like we probably know. We can presume that.
Reverse Flash.
Yeah, it's like old reverse and like, but they also like the fact that the post credit scene fucking sucked. I thought that was gonna
trash.
Yeah, it's
literally not only did it suck, it makes things more confusing as to where Aquaman stands.
Oh yeah, where Aquaman 2
Yeah, is this the same Aquaman from that post credit scene? Is it a different Aquaman?
I think Aquaman 2 is set prior to Flash.
Because I think it's something dumb that they did that I didn't really care for. I think.
First of all, side note, they should have released this. They should have swapped the release between this and Aquaman 2. This should have been the last one because people know it's the last one chronologically, right. But you still got. On the bright side, I'm hoping Blue Beetle isn't touching any of this bullshit.
I don't think it is because
aside from names, like he can say names, but you don't have to show faces.
Yeah, they said Blue Beetle's the first movie of the DCU, but I think that they said that he's Aquaman in every universe, which is fucking dumb.
It's like not only is it dumb,
he looks like Jason Momoa in every universe.
Which is not only dumb, it's inaccurate because there is an Aquaman in CW or in Smallville.
Right.
So it's like,
I guess those universes don't count.
It's like, first of all, bitch, you lied.
Right.
Second is like Injustice versus right there.
Yeah.
The blonde-haired, blue-eyed Arthur Curry. It's like, I am happily accepting the timely demise of the DCEU. The only thing I kind of mourn is the Shazam-ally, and I'm the only one that liked Fury of the Gods.
Listen, they were just prematurely used. We should have had at least 2 movies with Shazam just doing his thing before introducing the Shazam-ally. Because if you give everybody powers, it makes them all not special.
I mean, it is a minor issue they run into in the comics. Yeah, no, it should have been him for it should have been him predominantly for the first. No, okay. You know what the problem is that they chose the fucking goddesses from like Greek history as the villains and not Mr. Mind like they set up in the first fucking movie.
And then literally at the end of the
and then set it up again because I remember you told me
y'all do the same shit twice.
I remember you told me what the scene was, and even when I saw it, I'm like, wow, fuck you. Like I knew what it was, and I'm just sitting there just like, okay, oh, fuck me then. Okay.
Right. Because they literally did the same post-credit scene twice.
Yeah, it's like, here's the thing. It would have... I think that just as a minor... We'll get back to the Flash in a second. It's not going anywhere. Clearly, actually, you know where it's going. Out of theaters. Right. They're pulling it from theaters because
it's going to box office failure.
Yeah, it's going to Max. That's where it's going. But, no, they should have had him fight because... for dumbass reasons, he couldn't fight Black Adam in his second movie. So it's like, have him fight Mr. Mind and Big Bald, like, or do the adventures through the 7 Wonderlands, which would have been way more interesting. It's just like, oh, where did their fucking powers come from?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you could have done the same like narrative arc of just like learning to grow up and letting go and letting people do their own things.
Or they could have done the thing of like maybe Billy doesn't feel as useful or as special because his family also has powers now.
Which would have worked perfectly in line with the theme that they set up for Fury of the Gods. Of just like not feeling, you know, essential. Like, yeah, it's like not feeling essential again because he has insecurities. What's the name of the actor that plays young Billy? Angel, it's like an alliteration. Angel Ashford?
Something like that. Yeah.
I want a bright, strong career for that kid. He
was good.
He's a very good actor, and I do agree with the complaint that he wasn't in Fury of the Gods enough.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Because like in the first one, he's great.
He is. He's really good,
and he plays Billy really, really well. And it is there in the second, but it's not there enough.
And part of the problem is that they don't feel like the same guy as well.
No,
Zachary Levi's doing his own thing, and
yeah, Billy feels more mature than Shazam does.
Right, which is weird.
Which is a strange place to be. And again, I still like Zachary as Shazam in those moments, and he feels like a teenage boy, but he feels less mature, and I can tell in Ashford's performance that he is more mature, right. Actually, and he actually he can show some range and some depth in his facial, acting and his nonverbals and things like that. So it's just like that's kind of why I want them to kind of move over going forward, but it's kind of it's all or nothing scenario.
They fucking bombed hard though. I don't know if they're gonna make it
because of Black Adam.
Yeah,
he bombed.
Plus, nobody gave a fuck. You didn't even see it in theaters.
I didn't have time.
Nobody had time.
I just got my Regal Unlimited pass in May, right on time, so I can see the other one free. But it's like, yeah, I didn't. I saw you when that movie was in theaters. I was busy. I was traveling.
That's right. We did. Yeah, that's right. Because we saw Mario.
Yeah. But it's like, it's not that I didn't want to see it, because I did want to see it in theaters. I think I would have enjoyed seeing it in theaters, because I enjoyed it when I watched it on Max. But it's all or nothing scenario between the EU and the new DCU. And if that has to be the case, I'll take it. Because most of the things that happened I didn't like, aside from Shazam and the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Like, I made my list after the Flash came out.
See, the Suicide Squad?
The Suicide Squad.
You didn't like that one?
No, I did.
Oh, you did like that.
Those are the two that I really liked, that I think are legitimately great. I think I made my list. I think Flash came in third.
I think BVS is worse than Man of Steel.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, yeah, obviously.
It's character assassination, start to finish. Aside from Wonder Woman. She's the only character that's like decent in that movie.
I think there's potential there. I think like Lex Luthor's plot is convoluted as shit, but like
Lex Luthor,
the character, in the beginning of the movie, certain things on paper, if you're just looking at the transcript, I'm like, okay, that's Lex Luthor. But like, it's the way that Jesse Eisenberg plays him. It's like, it's fucking rough.
Actual Mark Zuckerberg is more like Lex Luthor than Jesse Eisenberg was as Lex Luthor. It's just not the DCU. I don't think has had good casting. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't think it has. Aside from oddly enough, most of the Suicide Squad, except for Jared Leto. Jared Leto was terrible.
Speaking of, I don't know if it's a matter of miscast or just like maybe someone was miscasting this, because fucking like Kiersey Clemens and why does she want to be with that man, bro?
Okay, let's
make no goddamn sense.
Here's the thing. Kiersey Clemens, I think, could be a good Iris.
Yeah.
Iris West and Barry Allen did not have chemistry in this movie.
They didn't have chemistry, and Barry was weird, bro. There's no reason why those two would get together, why she would like him at all.
They barely had scenes.
Right, two scenes, maybe three scenes.
Which is why if they do the reboot, I'm okay with the current squad, which I think they will because of Waller, Kiersey Clemens, Sasha Kaye, and Batgirl. coming over. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Like, if they don't want to pick...
That girl, the same actress?
Yes.
Okay.
She deserves a redemption arc.
Okay.
I would be very comfortable having a Brave and the Bold with a blonde-haired Sasha Kaye, because it's a new universe. Fix that goddamn outfit. Jesus Christ, I hate the Man of Steel outfit. Oh my god.
So you hated her outfit too?
So, I like her outfit. I like her outfit design-wise. I hate that fucking S. I hate that alien ass. Like, I get what Zach was going for. Weird outer space bullshit. I have never really liked it. I don't like it aesthetically because it's too alien and because it's too out of the box and atraditional. Especially for a Superman that is very out of the box and weird and atraditional. Like, he's... Like, his Clark is built like a brick shit house.
Right.
It's like, who's Superman? The big motherfucker over there whose head is above the cubicle.
Right. The man who's ripping through his suit right now.
Yeah, the
with
big
his fucking muscles.
The big barrel chest motherfucker over there. Like, 2 doors down. You know, who could be... It's like... And making Lex Luthor this, like, sniveling bald weakling is like, no, that doesn't make it... And I get it. Lex Luthor...
Zany.
Yeah, it's like, quirky. It's just like... Lex, you know, being just this pseudo Mark Zuckerberg piece of shit is like, it doesn't make him... So, Lex Luthor's in BVS suffers from the same issue that people complained about for Flash and No Way Home, or in the Homecoming trilogy, but the one in the Homecoming trilogy makes sense because of context.
Okay.
So remember when people complained about Flash not being like a big football bully? Or whatever, but he was just a rich, arrogant douchebag.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the reason that makes more sense is because Peter goes to a magnet school. So it's like, it's a school full of nerds already. So if you're gonna, you kind of have to adjust it.
Right.
BVS is still they're trying to do a modernized Luthor. The thing is, a modernized Luthor wouldn't be like that. He'd be like, Jim Bro Elon Musk. He'd be Joe Rogan, but with like a better intellect. Like he'd be Joe Rogan with Mark Zuckerberg's brain.
Okay.
That's what he'd be like.
Okay.
He'd be like this hulking, like, wide mass of flesh with like a genius level intellect for like manipulation and tactics. That's what Lex Luthor would be.
Physical formation, peak physical form.
Yeah, remember how he looked in, what was it, All-Star Superman, where he made out with Amanda Waller?
I'm sorry, he didn't make out with Amanda Waller in that.
Was it All-Star? It was one of the movies. It was based off a comic. It wasn't All-Star. It was, no, it was Batman and Superman Public Enemies.
He made out with Amanda Waller in that movie?
Yeah, yeah.
What the fuck?
He was, like, working out hard as shit and injecting himself with kryptonite, if I recall. So he got, like, super fucking swole. And then Amanda Waller and him had, like, had a meeting. He, like, grabbed her by the throat and, like, kissed her. Not kissed her, I'm sorry. Assaulted her. Because that's what he did. That's what he fucking did. And then walked out and she's like, what the fuck?
Well, I need to see that again. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was one of the... It was either Public Enemies or Apocalypse. It was one of those. Okay. But I think it was Public Enemies.
Okay.
But... No, it's like... modernizing Luthor is not hard. It just... Zach needs to stay away from other people's properties, and he needs to do a damn TV show. And I'm going to say that until he actually listens to me. But no, it's like the DCU is dead and the Flash killed it. I'd be if Batgirl, Kaye, and basically really the women actresses, most of them, I don't want Gal back.
No, I'm good on that too.
I'm good on that. They used up all their cameo bucks.
You bring in the girls back from Birds of Prey?
Probably not, no. I mean, maybe Harley. Don't get me wrong, Dante Bosco's cousin would be a cool...
Cousin?
Yeah. She's his cousin, the one that plays Cassie.
Really?
Yeah, they're related, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Ella Basco, that's her name.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's either his cousin or his niece, but yeah, they're
trip.
related.
Okay.
But see, Ella Basco would be a good Cassandra, if they wrote Cassandra right, they turned Cassandra into Stephanie Brown for some reason. Got really weird. So it's like I'm sure she could play that fine, but you'd have to reboot cast. You'd have to reboot the Birds, basically. Like that cast could work for the Birds. I don't like the way they were written in that movie. Aside from maybe what's the name of the detective chick that turns into the question? I mean, she was okay, but yeah, it's like that. I didn't really care for the ones from Birds of Prey. You know what? I wouldn't mind Mary getting her own movie. Mary Marvel. Getting her, where she goes to college.
I thought you were going to say Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress.
No, I didn't like. I didn't. No.
You didn't care for her.
It was like almost going somewhere, but then she showed up with like her navel exposed, and she was an assassin, and it just took me completely out of the game. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense.
I only watched that movie once in theaters, so I need to.
So did I.
Damn.
And then
2020.
I found out that like a lot of people and a lot of women really loved it. I'm like, really?
Really?
I'm glad people like things, because I'm not saying she'd be a bad huntress in the future. I don't know what it is. I'm kind of glad James. I think James would be able to pick an incredibly talented female writer director team to do like a Harley Quinn or a Birds of Prey project. I have no doubts that he'd be able to pull that off. I don't think the Old Guard did particularly well, is the thing. I would love to see more female-led and diverse women-led like project. Like the one we watched today was written by like Asian women, directed by an Asian woman, starring Asian women.
Right.
Joy Trip was awesome. It was dope.
It was.
So it's not like it can't be done. I didn't like Birds of Prey, but I would not mind like a Mary Marvel new universe spin-off where like she goes over to the new universe because her acting is good. Because so it's like if she goes over and the rest of the Shazamily is kind of left ambiguous for the time being, and maybe she becomes the new Shazam. They did that in the comics recently. You could pull that off.
Okay.
Where it's like maybe Billy goes with powers and shit. I don't fucking know. But that I think would be fun, and I think it could be fun to have like letting. Because I mean I don't want to touch on the Superman stuff yet because we do have news about it, but I want us to watch the new show and talk about it then.
Right.
We'll talk about that. But it's like, no, I would enjoy seeing like Mary Marvel, Batgirl, and Supergirl like maybe being like a new Trinity.
Okay.
And when we're getting a new Superman, and eventually we're gonna get like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. Like having women, really cool, good actresses. Two of them of like diverse backgrounds, I think could be a really awesome, interesting way. Because I think they have the talent to back it up. They just need the writers to support them. Because like we were talking about with Scary Movie, actors can only take it so far.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to talk about Spider-Verse?
Let's talk about Spider-Verse.
Yeah, all good things. Spider-Verse is amazing. 10 out of 10. 12 out of 10. I need to see it again. I can't wait to see it again.
I'm so ready. I've seen it 7 times. Did I tell you that?
No.
Yeah, I've seen it 7 times.
God bless.
It's fucking great.
It is great. I've only seen it once, but goddamn, like I saw it with my partner, and I was like electric the whole movie.
Yeah.
It was worth the wait. But minor side note. Shout outs to everybody that worked on the movie for the past couple of years. One, CGI and visual effects people need to unionize. 2, all of them deserve proper credit and compensation for whatever work they did, because they did like God's work on this movie. I do not want that to be minced in any capacity. This movie is gorgeous, and narratively, it walks a very delicate tightrope exceptionally well in a lot of it. This movie could easily fall apart, as we saw with the other multiverse movie.
Yeah.
But I think it pulls off what it seeks to do exceptionally well. I am not bothered with this being a part 1, mostly because I knew that going in.
Same.
I didn't realize how many people didn't know the next movie's called Beyond.
They didn't advertise it as a 2-parter, but like they did that one trailer, but then our fingers are on the pulse with this shit.
Yeah, it's like
most people aren't.
Yeah, we've been following. Yeah, so we're coming from a place of like bias. It's like I've known it was called Beyond when they announced they changed the name.
Right.
Because like
no, because originally I think it was Across the Spider-Verse Part 1
and 2. It was Part 1 and 2 because they announced it as 2 separate movies. But then I think we talked about it here at some point that they changed the name to Across and Beyond.
Yeah, I remember us talking about it.
Yeah, because I remember like people were going around saying it's like, oh, and we don't know what the sequel to Across is called. I'm like, it's called Beyond. They said that. I thought I was in like a fever dream, but I'm just like, yeah, they said that name a while ago. They just didn't make it like they didn't blare it out because they want you to go see the second one. But
right. No, this movie's damn near perfect. I can't think of any flaws. From the music to the visuals to the character representation to how the characters are written, it's just all firing on all cylinders.
It has so much like. People are still talking about it.
People are still talking about it, and we've had
like a flat month later.
We've had multiple big IP movies come out, and people are still talking about Spider-Verse.
And
it's kind of killed all other movies come out in the box office since it came out.
Yeah, like Little Mermaid got lucky it dropped on Memorial Day, which was genius marketing, by the way. I forgot it was a 3-day weekend. I'm like, oh, you clever bastard.
He was a smart motherfucker.
They dropped Spider-Verse perfectly because it killed everything after it.
Yeah, I remember watching a YouTube channel and they thought that
including other Disney movies.
Right, they thought that Spider-Verse was going to come in like 3rd. Like they thought the number 1 box office was going to be Indiana Jones, then Flash, then Spider-Verse, then Transformers. I was like, no.
Yeah, the fact that it entirely derailed because like it was week to week we were getting big franchise blockbusters.
Right. It's the second highest grossing weekend this year, only behind Mario. And it's wild because the first movie opening weekend only made $35 million.
Damn.
Right. And this one made over $120 million this time.
So it's already made more than The Flash on its opening weekend.
Double The Flash. More than double The Flash.
Jesus Christ.
Flash had a bunch of issues compounding against it.
Yeah. But like this is I think it's a modern masterpiece. Yeah. The acting is well done. Visually it's stunning.
The music is incredible.
The music is incredible. Some music is on my workout playlist actually. The ending theme is a fucking banger. It's amazing.
Yeah, both soundtrack and Metro Boomin's album.
Yeah, the soundtrack and the score are both very good.
Yeah.
God, there's so many. The Donald Glover bit is. I almost rocketed out of my chair. I wish I had taken a video of it because I explained it to my partner why that's so significant, not only in the text of the movie, but as like a meta detail.
Yeah. Because
it's so circular.
Yeah.
Like
circle,
we wouldn't have Miles without Donald.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like full stop, 100%. We would not have Miles Morales without Donald Glover.
In a way, we got to see Donald meet Miles.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fucking
Which is really wild. And not just Donald meeting Miles, Donald as the Prowler coming full circle from that. And Chris Anka just posted some of the sketch designs from it. He looks the designs themselves look cool, and like the BTS for like the little snippet. It's like it's really like there's a lot of hard work clearly in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of incredible passion and talent throughout. You know what surprised me the most?
What?
That of all the characters that has been popular, people are head over heels for Spider-Punk.
Yeah, they are.
And
love Spider-Punk.
And somebody made a video about this, and I'm like, it's a good point. if Spider-Punk was a real... There are real people that act just like Spider-Punk and people fucking hate them.
Right.
But for some reason, I don't know what the difference is. Because, like, having your radical, socialist, anarchist, punk black friend with his natural hair who always complains about capitalism is probably queer because of the Converse. Dead giveaway. No shade. But, like... that guy would be... People would think that person is annoying. Yeah. I don't know what... Maybe because it's in, like, doses. Or people think it's, like, played for humor. I'm just like, no, there are people out there like that for real. I talk to them regularly. Like,
right. No, I think that people like it because it plays to that media or that narrative of, like, there's a larger thing at play that goes against what our morals are. And because that's the nature of the story is... about this spider society that's trying to maintain order and control that is a way that is maybe like not in line with, dogmatic in a way that's not in line with our morals. He is the perfect contrast to that because
he's literally counterculture.
Exactly, he's counterculture, and and also the fact he's small doses and that he's British. Those are all aspects that I think play into that. But yeah, people love that guy.
I'm so surprised because I'm like, oh wow, like the radical anarchist Spider-Man is cool, and also, but I do give Hobie credit where credit is due. That no one really talks about. I'm pretty sure Hobie is the first fully black named Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah, both in 616 and in Spider-Punk's universe. Because Miles is half, remember?
That is right.
And so, like, there's a lot of Latino Spider people. Like, Aranya was actually in the movie, weirdly enough. Very briefly. It's like a blink and you miss a moment. Her design was radically different. But, like, she's in there. Oh, my God. The composites between the live-action movie moments. The conversations going around now about, like, Gwen's story being a trans allegory, I think, are really cool. The cultural conversations about Miles' biracialness and that interacting with Gwen's whiteness and her being like the white savior friend, and things like that, and her not getting certain cultural things. Oh man, oh God, when she like fucking ripped his collectible out the box. Oh, I felt my skin crawl.
Same. It hurts me every time I watch it.
I shuddered, and my baby was like, "It's like, you good?" I know. It's like, that hurt. They're like, that hurt me. And I'm like, yeah. And it's like, oh, can I see this? I'm like, oh, you raggedy bitch.
Putting the feet on the bed.
Feet on the bed, opening the package, and then calling the parents by the first name is some of the most egregious white girlfriend bullshit I've ever seen.
And then he immediately had that little spark with Spider Bite. Like,
I fuck with Spider Bite, though.
Fuck with Spider Bite.
I'm rooting for Spider Bite. It's like, I'm rooting for my girl, especially because it's like, oh hey, what's up? Come on, Miles. Come on. Don't talk to the pretty black girl. Can't have any of that.
What you mad about? What you jealous about? Huh? What you tripping over?
It's like, no, bitch. Unhand me.
Unhand me, wench.
Unhand me, wench. Flip. Spot being a like interdimensional threat. I like that.
Yeah.
I like. Oh, what? Okay. The Venom sequence almost made me fall out my fucking chair of him seeing Mrs. Chen. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
Right.
I thought I slipped into another dimension. I'm like, whoa, hold on.
We just gonna include the Venomverse in this shit?
Just like, casually canonizing fucking everything. I'm glad that it's one line for each of them. But the fact that Spectacular and Insomniac Spidey had lines.
Spider-Man had... Spectacular had two, actually.
Oh, yeah, two?
Yeah, because there was when they're showing...
I'm not complaining.
No. But yeah,
it's been like a month since I saw the movies.
Yeah, he's one of the Spider-Mans holding Uncle Ben on the ground. And he's like,
you're right.
Ben. No, he's like Captain Stacy. And then, he's like, we're telling the truth, Miles.
Yeah, the fact that he has a line that's like pertinent to the plot in its own way. Josh still got it. Josh has never
still got it.
He's never. I mean,
he went away.
He'll occasionally have people do requests on, and he'll post on like TikTok and Instagram of him reading sequences from like comic panels. So he did one recently from Spider-Man Blue. He is an incredible talent.
Him and Yuri Lowenthal are the best. Those are my two Spider-Mans.
No, I agree. At least as far as Peter Parker performances go, like they're up there with Kevin Conroy in terms of they're just so unequivocally them. In the fact that like after all this time, they have. Well, I mean, Yuri is Spider-Man now, but it's like the fact that Josh hasn't lost it is like a testament to his talent. I mean, he has great range as an actor, but goddamn, just in like a sentence, I'm like, feel the past. You know, the movie's gorgeous. It's directed exceptionally well. There's a lot of subtext, cultural dialogue that, like, you could break down this movie. That's why I told you earlier, it's like, this movie, I believe, will be taught in art schools in a myriad of manners of just, like, it as a form of mixed media. The way characters' frames move. So it's like Miles' frame rate thing, I think, is on the 2s, and then Hobie's is on the 3s.
Yeah.
So he literally, like, goes against the grain in terms of how he's animated, and it's so specifically stylistic. I like most of the redesigns, I would say. I think knowing now that that's at Anya, it's like, it's not my favorite thing in the world. But go big or go home. At that point, I really like Spider India's, and just like what we get to see of Mountbatten is gorgeous. There are a lot of thick Spider women.
Yes, there are.
Man,
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, it's like, man, Jessica Drew is fine, but she's a villain.
She's changing.
She'll come around, but no, it's like the fact that like the other two black people were the ones helping Miles, like message. You know, it's like there's a lot of ways to interpret it. Shout outs to Fantastic Frankie, who keeps getting shit on by angry nerds. She can't catch a break, bro. I swear it's something every other week about people being mad at her about something that she said that really wasn't that bad, and they just don't like it.
Yeah, the whole like the.
She was catching a lot of heat on
Latina.
Yeah, and I think she is Afro-Latina.
Okay. But yeah, how Miguel is racist or doesn't accept.
Oh yeah, and it's just like because she was saying it's like, and people got pissed about saying it's like no, he was Miguel's not outwardly calling like Miles the N-word and chasing him through time portals, just like somebody get that nigga. He's not doing all that, but it's just like no, there's it's like if you've hung around Latinos, they're not always the most like accepting of like. There's a reason like Dominicans don't accept that a lot of them are black. Right. You know?
I know a dude who doesn't accept that he's black.
Yeah, it's just like
he's like more light skinned, but I'm like, nah, bro, you Dominican. Like,
yeah, it's like anti-blackness is universal. So for it to show up in a more subtextual manner, it's like I get it. Miguel was a hater on everybody, and he doesn't like Miles predominantly because he's an anomaly. But it doesn't mean that there can't be. Because even when I was watching, I was like, that's got to be a little bit racist. It's like, that feels a smidge racist. And it's like, well, Jess was black and he respected her. It's like, that's true. She was one of the good ones to him. And she was the means to an end. But it's, oh God, the Lego sequence was animated by a black kid.
14-year-old black kid, yeah.
I wish I had his name in front of me.
14-year-old Canadian black kid.
I just saw his name the other day. I wish I could, I had it in front of me to name him, but I hope he got paid. That kid is super talented.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that kid got paid. He's going places. That kid is stupid talented. Yeah. But yeah, it's like even with Miguel, I was like, it's like I don't think it's hard to believe that the half Mexican, half Irish guy, you know, might harbor a little bit of a tight emotion towards like this young black teen that's also kind of mucking up the multiverse. Like I'm not saying he's a full-blown racist, but it wouldn't be that out of place.
The shoe fits.
Yeah, it's like it's like you know, it's like he's not a Peter Parker. And so it's just like
he's not even a proper Spider-Man himself. Maybe like, it's like a little bit of like self-hating because he hates.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not a Peter Parker. He's not a Spider-Man.
Honestly,
in a traditional sense.
All of the leads in this are not Peters.
Yeah.
So like Peter B shows up in a supporting role
like halfway through.
Yeah, but and not for much. Like and even like Ben is Ben. Like he's a clone of Peter, but that's about as close as you get, and he's a bit role.
Mm-hmm. Peter had more to do with him though. But yeah, there's only one specific Peter that's like part of the story of it, which I love. I love that he's like the supportive dad.
Yeah, he's a house husband, and I think that's dope. Like he's a good father. Miles helped him become a better father and believe in himself, and be a better partner to Mary Jane and everything. So it's like great acting. I love Miles' line of everybody tries to I kind of even looping back around, I was talking about like the blackening and black culture and everything. Like everybody tried to tell me what I can and can't be. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah, and
that's my favorite line I think in the movie, just because it's not only indicative of Miles, but I think Spider-Man himself kind of embodies that. Even if you look at Pete, like Pete as a character fundamentally was created because all the superheroes were adults, and so Stan and Jack wanted to make it's not Stan and Jack, Stan and Steve wanted to make like a teenage superhero that kids could relate to.
Right, didn't have a mask. Who had a mask on?
Yeah, who had a mask. So it's like it could be anybody under that suit. It's like he's doing this. It's like Spider-Man has always been about doing your own thing. That's why I love Spidey so much, because he is, due to the Spider-Verse, but also before it technically existed, he was still the most diverse Marvel character. He always has been. Or not Marvel. He's been the most diverse superhero character.
Yeah.
There's like, before Spider-Verse, even before Miles, you had 2099, Aranya, Ben Reilly, MC2 Spider-Girl, her other clone. It's like there was May, there was April. I think Hobie 616 Hobie wore the suit a handful of times. Like there's, and then after that you got people like you had Spider-Man India at the time. You had the manga Spider-Man. So it's like you had Japanese Tokusatsu Spider-Man. So it's like Spider-Man has always been the most diverse hero. You don't see this with like Batman. Everyone's like, oh, Batman is Bruce Wayne. My favorite Batman is Terry McGinnis. So it's like you don't see this for other heroes. People don't talk much about Chinese Superman. People don't talk much about like Duke Thomas Batman. People don't talk much about people talk. I mean, a little bit maybe, but it's about like the other Hulks. They talk about Bruce Banner.
Yeah, because those are the ones that get the most of the media and most of the attention.
Yeah.
It's interesting watching it. I think you would also benefit from having multiple viewings, because something I didn't really.
Oh no, I want to see it again. I just want to take my mom to see it.
Right, okay, that's cool. Something I noticed, not on my first time, but one of my my viewings after that is that remember that scene in the beginning where like he goes to the counselor's office and like she's trying to tell him like, oh, like you're like a struggling student.
Oh yeah, that annoyed me a little bit. It's like, oh, you have a struggling story about the comeuppance. Like, no,
but it goes back to the theme of the story with the Spider people later on. Is like, oh, you need to have your story go a certain way to make it certain places, or to be to have certain things, right? And then his spider sense goes off and he sees Spot. But something I didn't notice of the preceding viewings is that when that happens, underneath the sound of the spider sense, you hear faintly "stick to the script." Yeah, just stick to the script, and it goes back to the theme later in the movie where he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. I don't have to." Having a story or telling my story the way that you think it needs to go is gross. He says that early on in the movie. He's a static character. And the thing that he like learns to believe in himself later on in the movie, but the fact that that sentiment was shared from the very beginning means that he was someone who followed his own heart from the very jump of the movie, which I thought was very cool, very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only other thing left to touch on is how you feel about Miles G.
I'm Miles Morales.
Oh man. He's so cool.
He's so dope, bro.
And we just got confirmation that he is indeed a vigilante.
Yeah, which is cool.
Which is cool.
I didn't know what his role was. I'm curious what that means for him being a vigilante. I know that he didn't want to let Miles go. He had like give him a little cut on his cheek.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's gonna be
Miles
played by a different actor too.
Yeah, but I think it's one of the actors from I think it's actually the actor from I'm a Virgo.
Really?
It's either him.
No,
I think it's Jarrell Jerome. I believe is his actor.
Jarrell Jerome.
Who I think was in When They See Us.
Oh, okay.
The Netflix series, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, when I guess this will technically be Miles.
Wait, Jarrell Jerome is in that show.
Okay.
I think he might.
Yeah. When They See Us.
He's the main dude, I think.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I believe he's Miles G.
He's Miles G, and he's about to be the lead of I Am a Virgo too.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. Okay, need to check that out.
Yeah. So I'm excited for part 3. There's no fucking way that shit's coming out next year. Don't rush it.
Hell no.
Take your fucking time.
I'm mad, but I would rather you have a good product than a rush product.
Do not rush this. Please, God, don't rush this movie. I want this to be one of the greatest trilogies of all time, and I think they're really possibly able to do it. Yeah, no, it's just fantastic. It's a fantastic movie, start to bottom. I can't wait to see the dissertations and the further discussions. Yeah, I mean, shout out to Trans Gwen.
Trans Gwen?
The shit that I think clicked for me, aside from her color palette being basically the trans flag, the shoes. Again, no shade, no disrespect. People's bodies all come in different shapes and sizes. But it is interesting that, 16, 17-year-old Gwen can fit the shoes of, 19, 20-year-old Hobie. Mm-hmm. A cis guy. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I don't know. I was size 10 when I was in high school.
Interesting. Oh, so you think she's Gwen in this universe is already transitioned? Yeah,
and it wasn't a major thing.
Okay.
I mean, if that's and here's the thing, this is all just fan theory.
Okay.
If she's not, I don't care.
Right.
It's up there with the it's one of those ones I'm it doesn't do any harm and it doesn't take away from the character whatsoever for this to be an addition. There's another fan theory that Gregory from Abbott Elementary is autistic, okay. And now every time I see it, I see the coding explicitly. Every time I watch this character, I'm no, that makes so much fucking sense. Oh my god, so shit like that.
Okay, I can see it. I've only seen the first season of Abbott, but yeah, I get what you're saying though.
Yeah, so it's let fans have fun. Let people have fun. I'm glad Spider Sonas are coming back. I've started working on my own now.
Spider Sona?
Yeah, I missed that shit, but no, it's a great movie. Yeah, so we can finally go to bed.
I'm tired as hell, yo. It's
my god.
Past 3 a.m.
Yes.
As we're recording this.
Yes. I don't know. Anything else we wanted to add before we get out of here?
No. I'm happy we finally were able to do this in person.
Yes. Fucking finally. And I will edit it later on. Yeah, no. Don't forget to like the show, share the show with friends, follow the show. I'm on Threads now, so it's the same as my Instagram handle, so it's not hard to find me. But yeah, make sure you again, turn on your notification bell if you're watching this on YouTube, but like it, share it, leave a comment with the hashtag AskAce. We're gonna get out of here and actually try and get some fucking rest. Jesus. So I guess we'll probably do one after Blurred.
Yeah.
Or either after Blurred or after we do Superman, either or.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'm down. We'll figure it out. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.